Hi, friends. This is the second part of our compare and contrast brainstorm. Yesterday in the video, um, we completed this compare and contrast chart. I just typed it up to make it look a little bit nicer. So what we're going to do is we're going to use this information to complete this. Now, you have a copy of this at your house. Your parents should have printed it out for you. If they did not, please pause the video and go ask them as nice as you possibly can to print it out for you. There are two sides, so they might print it in 2 pages or just 1 page front to back like mine. Either way is totally fine. All right, so once you have that, make sure you write your name at the top so we know whose paper it is. And what we're going to do is we're going to kind of jump around on this paper, okay? We're actually going to start with our similarities and our differences, and then we'll go back and we'll write our introduction and our conclusion, which is on the other side. Now, remember, a brainstorm is just to get your ideas on paper, okay? We typically don't write with complete sentences. We just want to make sure we have enough ideas and we know exactly what we're going to be writing about. When we do our rough draft, that is when we will take our information and turn it into sentences. So first, what we're going to do is we are going to add in our sentence starters for our similarities. So the sentence starters that we're going to use for this piece of writing are like the ones that you've seen before. So I want you to write first. And after the word first, you're going to put a comma because that's what we do after a time order word or a sentence starter. On number 2, I want you to write also with a comma. And please remember, if this video is going too fast for you, you can pause it at any time so you can get your writing on your paper. And our last one is finally. Now what I want you to do is I want you to put 3 dots after each comma. And what these 3 dots mean is they just mean that there's going to be some words in between that we are missing, okay? So we know that these aren't going to be complete sentences, so we're just getting our ideas on paper. So when we go to write our rough draft, there's going to be more words included. So if we go back to our chart, we know that this column right here tells us how the fox and the farmer are the same. We know that the fox and the farmer both need something, that the farmer needed or wanted firewood, and that fox wanted the crow's cheese. So, again, not writing with complete sentences, but you're going to write need. Actually, I don't really like the word need. I'm going to change that to want. They both want something. That fox wants the cheese and the farmer wants firewood. So they both want something. Okay. Now the second one, they both made a decision to solve their problem, right? To solve what they wanted. So they decided, I'm going to do this to get what I want. Okay. So they both make a decision and I'm going to put / a plan, and we can decide later what word we want to use to get what they want. Okay, remember, if you need to pause the video, you can. And we're not putting periods after these boys and girls because they are not complete sentences, remember? So we are just getting our ideas on the paper. And our last similarity is that they both get food in the end. Remember, the farmer is surprised and he gets honey, and the fox gets that cheese from the crow. So they both get food in the end. All right. So like I said, we're going to go back to our introduction. Now I want you to flip your paper over or turn to the second page, however yours is printed. And now we're going to talk about the differences. How are the fox and the farmer different? Well, like we did on the first side, we are going to add in all of our sentence starters first. So now that we're switching from similarities to differences, the first sentence starter that we're going to use, instead of using something like first again, we're going to use on the other hand. On the other hand is a phrase that is used in speaking and in writing when you are kind of like switching gears. So if you're talking about one thing and then you switch to talk about another thing that's maybe kind of opposite, you might say or write on the other hand. So that's your first sentence starter. And then we're going to use the ones that we already used. Also, comma, and finally. Instead of finally, if you would like to use lastly, you can also use that. So you can choose on that one. And again, we're going to put our 3 dots. Remember, just saying there's going to be more information, more words. Okay, so make sure that you are caught up with that. If you need to pause the video, go ahead. Okay, let's go back to our chart. Now, our chart, we learned that the farmer was selfish and the fox was clever. The farmer was selfish because he wanted to cut down that tree, and the fox was clever because he figured out how to get that cheese without the crow even knowing. So we are going to write farmer is selfish. Oh, sorry, it was so crooked. And then we're going to put a comma. Okay. Fox is clever. Now, again, these are not complete sentences. We are just getting our ideas on paper. So on the other hand, farmer is selfish, fox is clever. Okay, number 2. This one's about the animals. So the farmer, what does he do to those animals? He ignores them. He's so rude. They're just begging for him to keep their house, right? And then the fox, he talks to the animal because, well, he is an animal, right? But he talks to the animal in his story, okay? So we're going to do this, a similar thing. Farmer ignores animals, comma, fox talks to the animal. Okay, and the last one that we're going to do is this kind of talks about the end result. So remember, the farmer wants to get firewood, right? He wanted firewood. He was going to cut down the tree and get firewood. In the end, he got honey. Do you remember? So the farmer doesn't get what he set out to get. Okay, kind of like his mission. He didn't get what he wanted. He still got something, but not exactly what he wanted. And the fox, he gets that piece of cheese, which from the beginning is what he wanted. So he does get what he set out to get. Okay, so farmer doesn't get what he set out to get, comma, fox does get what he sets out to get. All right, remember, if you need to pause the video at any time, go ahead. Okay, now we're going to go back to the front side and we're going to write our introduction sentence. Our introduction sentence is going to be a little bit long because we have to introduce both of our characters and say what story they're from and tell our reader what we're going to be writing about. So I'm going to help you, but basically what we're going to do is we are going to copy most of this part right here, and then we're going to add a little bit more. Okay, so it says the farmer from the peasant and the apple tree. Remember, when we have titles of stories or books, we only capitalize the important words. So, and the is not capitalized. And we always capitalize the first and the last word in a title. And because it's a title, make sure you underline it. Okay, so the peasant and the apple tree. So the farmer from the peasant and the apple tree, and the fox from the fox and the crow. So see how that's all very similar to right there? And again, underline it because it's the title of a story. Now we're talking about how they are similar and how they are different. So that's basically what we're going to say in the rest of this sentence. So we're going to say are the same in some ways and different in other ways. Quite the sentence, huh? So for this one, we did write a complete sentence. And when we go to write our rough draft, we will copy this sentence exactly onto our paper. Okay. All right. When you are ready, go ahead and flip to the back and we're going to write our conclusion sentence. So our conclusion, if you remember, the conclusion states it kind of restates the introduction sentence, right? So we take what we said in our introduction and we just kind of reword it a little bit, and we almost always start with a different sentence starter. So my favorite sentence starter is, for this type of writing, is as you can see. Okay, if you do not like that, you can write in conclusion. Or you can write these reasons show. Whoops. Okay, so you get to choose what you want to do. I like as you can see. So now we're going to continue writing that sentence, and we're going to use what we did on in the introduction sentence. So as you can see, the farmer and yes, we need to say the stories again. Okay. From, should have given you guys an extra line. The peasant and the apple tree. Don't forget to underline. And the fox from the fox and the crow. Are, now instead of saying the same, I'm going to use the word alike. So alike is a synonym for the same. Are alike in some ways and different. We're going to keep that word the same in other ways. So I definitely ran out of room. I will actually change your paper so when your parents print it out, it'll have an extra line or two for you. Okay, so now we are done with the second part of our brainstorm. Next week, we are going to work together on Zoom. I'm not sure what time yet because I have to look at your schedules. So we can kind of work on the rough draft together, okay? I think it'd be really helpful to do it on Zoom rather than doing it in a recorded lesson. But once you get that writing done, then you are done with writing for today. So I will see you later, friends. Bye.